YouTube friends. So today I thought I would do a little review video on this kit. I found it at Walmart. I think it was $19.99, something like that. And I was just curious. I mean, I'm used to mixing my own paints. I'm used to buying artist quality paints, but this looked like it could be fun. And for people who aren't necessarily going to be stocking a whole art studio like myself, I thought it would be interesting to see what kind of an effect this particular product would give. And also, this is so fun for kids. I would love to say that for 20 bucks, your kids could make something they're proud of. So this comes with everything that you need: the paint, the pouring medium, and even well, what they call a canvas. I don't know if I would actually call it a canvas. It looks like this. They're pretty small. So if I was going to spend any extra money outside of this kit, that's probably where I would put it. So let's see if we can get it. It comes with these so that you could pour over the back of them and make some designs. So I will see how that goes. I'm gonna try to follow their instructions and not off-road with my own experience. That way anybody with any experience level, just following the instructions, could come up with the same sort of painting. So here's the pouring medium. I'm really curious what it's made of, but it cleans up with soap and water. So we'll see how that works. I was a little surprised at first when I saw it that they put 2 oranges. I don't know, just to me, I would have maybe chosen one more darker contrasting color. But it does come with all of the stir sticks. Comes with this little spoon. I'm thinking that might be for the glitter it includes. And there's a brush so you can manipulate the paint. There's also all of these little condiment containers so that you can mix up your colors. They gave us 2 canvases, but I'm just gonna do 1 for this demonstration. And oh, there's even a little tiny one. I guess that's for measuring. Here we go. So I have all this, and it comes with lids, so you can put lids on each of the little condiment containers if you don't use everything. Comes with gloves. Here we've all been looking for gloves. Didn't know there was a little secret stash here. So I'll go ahead and put those on. So I was reading through the instructions before I started the video, just so I had an idea of what they are suggesting. They give you this cup right here, and they suggest to use that as a flip cup, or to fill it with paint and then use it on one of these little, they call them cupcake cups. So, all right, let's see. I'm having you in real time with me so that you can just see exactly what I'm doing. The instructions say that we need to put, let's see, how much paint do they suggest? I'm going to use the purple for sure because that's the darkest one. I want some contrast. So they're suggesting a 3-to-1 ratio. So 1 part paint and 3 parts pouring medium. So let's go ahead and just be clinical about this, I suppose. This is in tablespoons and teaspoons. And let me see if there's a seal here. Nope. So let's see what we got. I'm used to eyeing this, but I'm curious what their calculation is going to give in terms of consistency for the paint. We'll see if it's similar to the consistency that I'm used to having. All right, so I went up to one of the lines here. I can't even read it. It's not their fault. It's just probably my eyes. Half a fluid ounce was how much I put here. So I'll put that into my condiment cup. It says that the condiment cups are 2 ounces. So I put in half an ounce. And if I want to triple that at a 1-to-3 ratio, that means I'm going to put 1.5 ounces of pore medium. So I'm going to use this little spoon. I don't know if that's what they intended it for, but helps me get some of that paint out of there. I used puppy pads to protect my surface, just because I figured that's something that's accessible to anybody who's trying this out. You could also use newspaper, trash bags. Okay, now I'm looking for, all right, this is 1 fluid ounce if I fill it up. So I'm looking for 1.5 ounces per their recipe. That's gonna actually use a lot of my pouring medium. So maybe for the other colors, I won't be so generous. Okay, so let me put another 1/2 ounce in here so that I can stick to what they asked. There we go. And I normally do everything straight inside my little cups. So if you're using this, you would have to clean it. So I think just to save all of us time, I will just pour straight into the condiment cup for the next one. Now that I've kind of seen it, I can eyeball it. I'll just make a similar consistency once I have this one all mixed. So when I usually mix up my pouring mediums, I try not to lift. I try to just swirl. That way I'm not adding extra air and it won't give us excess bubbles. Because I'm following this package, I won't be using my torch to pop any bubbles. So we're just gonna follow exactly what they say. This is quite liquid, I have to say. I don't know if you can see here on the camera, but it doesn't make any kind of mound. This is almost the consistency that I would be using for some of my thinnest paints. So that's a little bit different than I expected. So I used a good quantity of the pouring medium doing that, so I'm going to put less paint. So I'm gonna use this pink. It's a pretty pink. And let's put some of that pouring medium. Here we go. Mix that up. See how it feels. There's a little bit of an odor to the pouring medium. Not exactly sure what it reminds me of. It's almost a glue smell. So this is a similar consistency to the purple. I'm losing it a little bit over the side because it's so liquid. It doesn't make a mound at all when I drip. When I normally paint with my other formula, there's always a little bit of a mound before the paint levels out. So we'll just see. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this one, Champagne, so that I have a dark and a light. I always make sure I have a dark and a light. Oh, and there's a little bit of a pearl color to this. That's gonna be nice. These are actually quite liquid paints on their own. Let me see what the viscosity is like without adding the pouring medium. You know, do you see it makes a little bit of a mound? It's almost the consistency that I would use when I am making my own pouring medium. So yeah, this is quite liquid. So I'm gonna cheat. I know I said I was gonna follow the instructions completely. And actually one of the cardinal rules of paint pouring is that you want to keep your consistencies the same so that the paints, they interact similarly. But I think for this one, I'm just gonna make it a tiny bit thicker than the others. It's just a hair. I mean, it's pretty liquid. Not quite as liquid as these, but it's pretty liquid. So I don't feel too bad about that. Now, what other color do I want to add? Do I want to add one of these oranges? You know, I'm personally not a huge orange fan, which is, it's kind of funny because I bought this kit that has 2 orange, but because I'm not in love with purple and orange together, just myself, personal preference. Maybe I'll do this red. I do love a red. What I usually like to do is I like to have a dark and a light. So this would be my dark and my light, and 2 complementary colors. So I would have probably picked some kind of a blue to complement that pink rather than the red. But, you know, I could be wrong. This might be fabulous the way it's gonna be. We'll see. I'm gonna mix that up. I wonder if I should do a tiny bit more red. It's not a whole lot. Yeah, it's very, very liquid. I'm not sure what I think about that. Well, you know what? Let's just do it all. I'm not gonna be following my normal steps. I'm gonna imagine that I'm a person who just wants to play with some paints, maybe for therapy during this quarantine. Some of us are bored, some of us are lonely. I know that my daughter, my poor daughter, she's 2 years old, and you know, we all do what we gotta do to protect ourselves, our family, our neighbors. But I don't know if my daughter remembers playing with another child at this point. Woo! She's been alone for so many of her conscious talking months that I can't remember. I think the last time she played with a child, and she was not 2 yet, so she was just barely toddling around, was last Christmas. Because, well, no, actually she played twice, in January and February, and that's it. She has not seen another child. So my point being, during this whole quarantine time, we all need distractions to keep each other entertained, and to feed. Oh, I just splashed myself. Thankfully, I'm wearing a shirt that is already full of splashes. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna call that good. So let's just have fun with this, and I'm not gonna worry about making it a masterpiece. So I'm gonna use the big quote unquote canvas that they give us. It's pretty small. I don't usually personally use this small of canvases, and my gloves are full of drips and things, so I'm gonna smear a little bit, that's fine. All right, so they don't give me anything to prop up the canvas. I would normally put something to hold it up, so I'm just gonna go with the flow here. I really like these, so I think we should use them. I mean, why not? And they give us the option of putting the colors in the cup or pouring the colors separately. Since we have the cup, I think we should use it. So I will do some layers. Do some purple, some pink. I don't know if they're gonna mix because it's not a very viscous look here. Some of this champagne color, some yellow. You can see it's really mixing in there. The layers are not going to stay separate. So we might end up with some mud. So I think that's all I'm gonna put, because I might need to save the rest to pour them separately. So let's see, let's pour this on here and see what we get. All right. They did mix a lot, but that champagne with a little bit of pearl did add some interesting sparkle in there. So I'm not level. I can see that right away because all my paint is running towards you. Oh, look at that. Wow, hold on. Let's see what's happening. I didn't expect that. The champagne color is like popping through with some really pretty cells. And it's sparkly. So it's very, very fluid. That's why I moved the cups. I didn't see it holding any kind of shape. And so I'm just kind of moving it around. If you do want to use this board that they give you, don't expect it to really hold up to the paint for very long. I wouldn't be surprised if it shows up all warped in the morning after it's dried, because it's just, I mean, it's just a cardboard board with a little bit of, it's a canvas board. And those aren't quite the best for pouring because you do put a lot of paint on the canvas. Look at this. This is actually really pretty. A little bit of a funky smell, like I mentioned earlier. It smells, you know, I know exactly what it smells like. It smells like when you're getting acrylic nails done and they're putting the acrylic on. That's what it smells like. I mean, I suppose I'm using acrylic paints, but I've never smelt it. It didn't ever smell like that. It's okay if it doesn't look great at this point, since I will be adding to it. Now, while I've been doing this, look at the cup. It's definitely not holding its layers of color. I think I'm just going to pour a little bit more on here, as is. It's really pretty, actually. There's some vibrancy. Ooh, that purple. Look at that. Ooh. Wow, look at the way it's reacting. What did they put in this paint? It does not react like that when I'm using my other pouring mediums. There's some special sauce in here. It's a little bit too thin for my preference, but there's something in here that is quite interesting. Let me see, I'm gonna pour some more. Let me see, a little bit here. I'm trying to get all those holes covered. Yeah, look at that. The colors are just interacting. There's like little explosions happening. Over here. Not sure if I like that mustard and ketchup combination right there, but I think if I was picking my colors, I would have stuck maybe to just the pinks and purples and the champagne. Maybe a touch of this lighter orange, because look how pretty that is with the purple. But I'm not sure. To me, this looks like ketchup and mustard. My fault, not the fault of the kit. So even though I didn't plan on it, I think I'm going to open up this little tiny canvas that they gave me and do some more, because there is some really interesting interactions going on that I didn't expect. Everything's sticking to me. I'm not one who's super fond of gloves. I really like to feel my artwork. I'm someone who, I'll paint with my fingers if I have to. And I don't know, there's something, I just like to feel what I'm doing. And I'm not feeling it with the gloves. But I'm not familiar with what they put in this either, so I don't want to be touching all kinds of chemicals I'm not familiar with. So, okay, I'm gonna let that settle. This is actually kind of cute. I like that. I can deal with that. So let's use this little tiny one that they gave me. And let's do a flip cup. Let's just do a traditional flip cup. And we'll flip it on there. I'm not going to use the yellow and the red, even though it's looking better. It's looking better and better over there. But I just can't help but see some relish, some ketchup, some mustard. Maybe I'll have to do a hot dog inspired pour one of these days. Okay, I'm gonna do a flip cup. Let's just see what this little baby's gonna do for us. Here it goes. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Look at that. It's bursting. Bursting. Very, very fluid. Lots of paint here. You have more than enough paint for these little tiny boards. You can, and I would suggest that you get yourself a little 8x8 or 10x10 canvas, which is gonna absorb more paint than these boards, for sure. If you get yourself a little kit like this. Get yourself something bigger to play with. That's kind of cute. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flick some of this champagne on it. See what happens. I'm gonna be a little, I don't even remember the word I'm trying to say. Unorthodox here. I don't usually do this, but I like this champagne. I think that it has a little something. Ooh, this does not feel good. It's very, very sticky. Okay, well, everything is pouring off of the board, unfortunately. And without having something to prop it up with, I wouldn't be surprised if I lose a lot of the painting. I really wanted to give you a dry picture when this is done, but I don't know. I don't know how much of this will actually stay on the board and how much of it will just leave. So I don't know. I kind of want to use some of this paint on something else. Give me something else to put paint on, please. I don't want to waste this paint. I still have lots of this, which I can use, do little experiments with it later with my own pouring fluid. I actually still have a good amount of the pouring medium. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna flick a little bit of purple in here too. Oh, look at how that interacts. Do you see it dropping? Just drops right through. The densities of the different colors have different weights. That's part of why you get cells when you're doing acrylic pouring. Some paints are heavier than others. Some will rise to the surface. That one just dropped. Really interesting. Well, I guess that's it. I wished that I had more of a look the way that they had when I used, they did this kind of thing here. Kind of want to just show that to you. Wonder if I can just grab one of my own canvases and show you how that might look. But the paint is so thin, I have trouble believing that it will hold much of a shape. So maybe I'll try these in a different video just on their own, because they're cute. I'm sure they'll have their use. So that was it, $19.99 Palmer paints. I do like the way that the paint interacted, and I think that had to do with this pouring medium. I don't like how thin the paints are because you don't keep the structures. You can see everything bleeds together very quickly. So if you do get cells, I don't think they're gonna stay. So we'll see when this dries how much paint is still on the canvas. I'll try to level it out because I can see down here I'm losing some because I'm not on a level surface right now. So I'll try to level it out, and maybe maybe it'll be fine. I also don't know with how thin these paints are, if they're gonna crack, if they're gonna I'm not sure what the consistency is going to be like when it's done. This orange definitely took over. I was looking for more pink and purple, but it seems like the orange must be a lighter density. So it came up along with the champagne. The champagne bubbles right up. Here, I'll shoot some champagne over here into the ketchup, mustard, and relish that I got from it mixing. I'll shoot some of this over there and see what happens. There was another colorway I could have bought. I think it was blues and purples. I don't remember why I didn't get it because I happen to love blues and purples. We'll see how that changes. You can already see it's spreading because it's just so liquid. All right, well, I don't want to make this a gigantic long video. Hope you enjoyed that. Got to see it in real time. Oh, wait, before I leave, maybe we should try some of this glitter. I wasn't going to use it, but I did say I would use the kit as it was presented. So I'm just going to sprinkle it on. Let's see what happens. We'll sprinkle, sprinkle. Sprinkle. I think I'm only going to stick with this. I don't see how the pink is going to make this any better. So I'm going to sprinkle that on. I could see that being fun if you were doing this with your kids. Ooh, look, do you see how the glitter changed colors as it hit the purple? It's like purple glitter now. That's kind of interesting. I don't usually put glitter on my paintings. What I usually do is add a color shift product if I want a little bit of sparkle, which is usually like a dragonfly glaze or a color shift paint, an interference paint. Those will give you a little bit of that iridescence. Okay, well, I will turn off the camera for now, and I'll come back in a few hours and see how it dried. And here we are with the dry results. And let me just be the first to say this is a fail. Holy moly. These are the ugliest paintings I have ever done. The colors did not stay separate. There's no structure. The board's warped. And you can see that it just did not hold up to the volume of paint. So then all the paint kind of puddled in the center, turned to mud. The glitter was just an atrocity. I mean, this is not at all what someone would expect if they bought this kit. So I think I need to intervene. I decided change of plans. I just went and grabbed one of my own canvases, and I'm going to pour these straight out of the bottle. I'm going to see what it looks like without adding the pouring medium, because like I said, they feel very liquid on their own. And I'll be able to see really quickly if they're liquid enough. So here we go. Let's start. And you know what? It's a little bit thick. It is a little bit thick, but let's just do it. Let's just go with it. I'm gonna pour some alternating colors here on this cupcake cup that they provided in the kit, and see what we get. See if we can get some shape, because when it's so liquid like those, it's just turning into mud. It's hard for me to imagine that there is a way, using these techniques and those boards, that there is a way to make this and this work. Now, I do have some techniques that are great for very thin paint. And it's possible that those techniques would work just fine. But for the technique of trying to make something with this cupcake cup, I have a hard time believing that I could have done that, mixing 3 parts of this and 1 part of that. So I'm just straight out of the bottle, pouring it on. Some pretty colors. We will see. Now, it is possible that it's still a little bit too thick. I might be wrong in my experimentation here. And if the paint is too thick, then the problem will be when it's trying to dry and it'll crack. It'll just be too solid. The top will start to dry before the bottom. It's just like, you know, any kind of paint project you've done, it always tells you to put a thin layer of paint. And that's just because if you put it too thick, it'll crack. It's not made to be too thick. But like I said, this is almost the consistency that I would make my paints. So I'm hoping it's not too thick. And I want to enjoy the paints that I bought, so I'm going for it. Now you can see that I'm getting a shape here. It's reacting to the shape of the cupcake cup because it's thick enough to maintain the shape. When it's too thin, they just mix, the colors mix together. It's not gonna hold any kind of shape. Let's see, I'm just gonna keep going. I don't mind if I use all the paints. I've never been one who is afraid to waste a little bit of paint. It's part of what I love about paint pouring, to be honest. Just the freedom of letting the paint run. It's not always about the final product. It's not always about what you're trying to hang on a wall. It's the actual experience of seeing the paint, feeling the paint, watching the paint move and drip, and the fact that it's ever changing. You start with something and it just keeps moving and moving and moving. So that's part of why I film my process as I'm painting, because the filming is also part of the art. Seeing the whole dance and movement of the paint is part of the whole experience. You don't get to see that. You don't really fully get to experience what it was to make that painting. At least, I mean, this is my own little opinion on paint pouring. I'm only using the purple, red, pink, and champagne so that I don't get any more of those hot dog colors. It is quite thick, I will tell you. Even though I have a nice structure, I can see the paint is quite thick. So we will see if I'm able to stretch it out enough across the canvas to not crack when it dries. This is actually a little bit more fun than mixing the paint with that medium that smells like you're in a nail salon. I think it might have been, ooh, look at all those bubbles, my goodness. Ooh, gotta pop those. Pop, pop, pop. Those are some thick bubbles. Ooh. All right, let's see. Let's get some more of this on here. All right, I'm running low on paint, so we'll see what happens here. Yeah, a little bit of red. There we go, yes. There's some red. I'll pop this bubble. It's pretty thick bubble. Okay, so I got to get this out of the center, and I'd love to see more of the paint going over the side before I do that. I'm just gonna scrape it. I'm not following any directions here now. I'm roguing it. This is just what I would do with my own stuff. All right, I'm gonna try to scrape, scrape, scrape a little bit. Some of that paint to move. All right, now I'm gonna lift it up. Goes, oof, suction. And let it fill in. That's actually kind of fun to see it close. Now, if I was using my own paints, I would put a layer of white around the edge to help stretch the paint out. Because this is a dry canvas, I didn't prep this canvas at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this yellow that they gave us. And I consider this to be sacrificial paint because it's just helping to wet the canvas and stretch out the paint. So maybe this isn't quite what you would want to do if this was the only paint that you had, just had this one little set. You could, if you have a canvas like this, you could put a base coat that will help stretch the paint, because when the paint hits the dry canvas, it's going to stick. And so all the paint on the edges has a tendency to roll under as it's sticking. It'll roll under and roll under. So, I don't know, if I had my turntable handy, actually I might have my turntable handy. We can spin it. Why don't we just spin it? That's perfect. And that way it'll maintain some of that shape. So I'm not wearing clothes for spinning today. This was not on my agenda, so I'm gonna just do a very slow spin. All right, here goes spinning, spinning, spinning. Now all my paint is going one way, so I'm gonna spin the other way and try to get it to fling the other way a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that so pretty right there? Oh, that's gonna make a beautiful paint skin. Okay, a little bit more so we can get over these edges. There we go. I don't want to go too hard, otherwise it's going to just fling everywhere. Even though I've got my floor protected, I'm wearing old clothes, I really don't feel like having paint everywhere. Okay, let's see if it went. I'm gonna stretch a tiny bit with my, well, you know what? I'm not gonna stretch it. I'm just gonna fling a little bit more. The more I do this, the more it's gonna thin that paint out. And so I can possibly avoid having some cracking when it dries. All right, I'm pretty much all the way around. Look at how pretty it is in there. I almost wish I could keep that. Look at that. But you see, the thicker paint holds the shape. This over here, I mean, this is not holding any kind of shape, and it just turned to mud. So this time, because I have it, I think I can add some of that glitter that they included. Let me make sure I didn't throw it away, because I did. Oh yeah, I almost threw it away. Let's put some of this glitter. Let me cut it open. I'm probably gonna be wearing glitter all day after this. Okay, let's do a little shake, 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 shake. Just kind of gonna go in a circular fashion. Maybe I should have spun it while I put the glitter, so it would have been a even consistency. A little bit in the center. Woo! This is quite pretty. This is more what I was hoping to show you before this monstrosity was created. So, I mean, obviously I off-roaded. This was my own interpretation of how I would use the materials I was given. And not everyone has a turntable, but I definitely think these paints work better for me without the pouring medium or with very little. So I would not suggest a 1:3 ratio. for this kind of pour. If you were using a blow dryer, or if you were using, like for kids, if you're using straws to blow the paint, that's different. You want it to be a very thin consistency. But for this, using the cupcake cup, you want to hold that shape. I mean, look at that. That is really pretty. And I mean, obviously this is my own canvas. This is not the canvas that they provided with the set. I much prefer it because look at the sides. That is nice. I would call this a success. This is a Sarita success. So now that I was feeling so bad about my two ugly paintings down there and questioning my life as a fluid artist, I feel vindicated. This is beautiful, and I like the glitter. I've never used glitter on my paintings before, and I like it. So I think that's a better representation of this kit. And I hope I gave you some ideas on how you can improve upon the instructions, how you could make it a little bit more user-friendly. If you buy a kit like this, I hope you do not end up with something like those down there. And definitely prop it up. I tried to have those not propped up because they didn't come with anything and they just stuck to the puppy piddle pad. So definitely prop them up. I'm gonna put this on a couple of solo cups and to keep it up, and it'll continue dripping for a while. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll have some more fun with other reviews in the future. Have a great day and keep making a beautiful mess.